Thank you, whoever pointed it out.
It's gonna be thinking like when I watch the video.
I haven't done anything. It's just number one, simplify.
I wonder if anybody ever watches these.
People do, because they ask me when I don't get them up fast enough. Power to a power. All right, x squared raised to the 8th. We just reviewed this on the prior lesson. What do we do with the powers? Multiply or add?
Add
So,
or multiply.
x to the 16th. Are we good? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. N to the negative 4th raised to the 3rd. Multiply, what do you get?
And 12.
N to the 12th or negative 12th? And then we don't have negative exponents. We don't leave them that way anyway.
1 over n to the 12th.
Perfect. 1 over n to the 12th. Questions? Number 3. 3a squared parentheses raised to the 4th power. All right. What I suggest you do first, what I want you to do first is put your powers in like we used to. The 3 doesn't have a power on it, so what do we put? A 1 for the power. And you're multiplying the powers. We're still going to do that, but we're going to think of it as distributing the exponent. Okay, think of distributing the exponents power to power. So this, and remember we multiply. So 3 raised to the, what's 1 times 4? 4. A raised to the, what's 2 times 4? 8. And these I do simplify. If they're numbers that are simplifiable, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is what? Anybody know? Here,
81.
81 is correct. Do it this way. 9, and 9 times 9 is? So 81, a to the 8th power, please listen, is your answer. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 to the 4th is 81, a to the 8th. Got it? All right, number 4. 5x y squared parentheses raised to the 3rd power. What should you put here on the 5x first? On the 5 as well as the x, you put your 1. Does that make sense? Distribute your exponent. And what do we do with the exponents? Multiply them. Do that now. Okay, I didn't fill my powers in yet. What is it for 5? 5 to the 3rd, because 1 times 3 is 3. X to the
3rd.
same reason. And y to the 5th or 6th?
6.
6, because 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, 5 to the 3rd is 5 times 5 times 5. Anybody know what that is off the top of their head? Thank you. One person answered, and it sounds like the rest of you are not listening. She said 5 to the 3rd is 125, and that is correct. 25 times 5. Step ahead. 125. All right. Okay. Are we good? Let's change it up a little bit. Negative 2.
Is this the lesson or is this like
This is the review, isn't it?
You guys scared me. This is the this is the lesson, but like the last lesson, I said it's review because you've done it last year, but it's still the lesson. All right. Negative 2ab raised to the 3rd. Negative 4a squared parentheses quantity squared. This problem is where students start to mess up on the test. These top ones over here, they can do pretty easily. This is where they start to mess up. All right. I am going to put my powers in. On the negative 2, a power of 1. On the A, a power of 1. And where else?
B.
B. Let's go to my next set. What about this one here? Where do I put my power of 1? Good job. All right, the next thing I'd like you to do, I want you to do when you're doing these, if your coefficient is negative, put parentheses around it like this. You only do that when your coefficient is what? Negative. All right, let's work this out. -2 in parentheses, AB. And what does that become for -2 raised to what power? Third. A to the,
Third.
and B to the, because all the powers were originally 1. All right, next one, -4 in parentheses. -4 raised to what power?
2.
Second. And A raised to what power? 4. And then we're going to clean up. Now it's important that you put your negatives in parentheses so you can keep track of if it's positive or negative for your final answer. For example, on this one, what's -2 times -2
Negative. Positive.
times -2? -8. Do you guys see how this coefficient's -8? Where this one is -4 times -4, which is positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive 16. All right, so again, when your coefficients are negative, put what around them? Parentheses. They won't be there. You need to know, put parentheses, then your powers, and then multiply them out to see if they're positive or negative. -8 a cubed b cubed times 16 a to the 4th. All right, this is like the ones we had on the prior lesson. We multiply our coefficients. What's -8 times 16? Negative what? 128? -128. Now, we add exponents for like bases. Does a cubed and a to the 4th have a like base?
Yeah.
So a what? Now, does a b cube have a like base? So do I add it with anything, or does it just stay b cubed? It stays b cubed. You just can't randomly add things together. So, Caleb, that question you asked earlier, what happened if they're not the same base? Like these two are not the same base, nor is b with this a. So it just stays b cubed because it does not have a like base. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, 6, -3 x to the 3rd y squared in parentheses to the 3rd power parentheses 2x y to the 0 raised to the 2nd power. All right, let's put in our ones. Where do I put my ones in the first parenthesis? -3. Oh, what else do I need around the -3? Parentheses. And what do I put, where else do I need the ones over here? The 2 and the x, and then distribute. Boom, boom, boom. -3 raised to a power. 3rd. X raised to a power. What is it? 9, because 3 times 3. And y raised to the 6th. All right, let's go ahead and clean that up. What's -3 times -3 times -3? Positive or negative? -27 x to the 9, y to the 6th. And then here I have 2 to the 2nd, x to the, and y to the 0 times 2 is,
First.
it's going to be 1, but do you agree that 0 times 2 is 0? Now they're going a step ahead. Is y to the 0, that whole thing, going to become 1? Yes. Now some kids said, well, I just changed it to 1 in the beginning, and that is perfectly fine.
So it would be 2?
So it would be 2 squared, which is 4x squared.
What about wait.
Yes.
Can I have a bathroom?
Yes. Now, could you write 4x squared times 1? You can. Is times 1 needed?
No.
No, we've talked about that before. 1 is the multiplicative identity. It is not needed. Got it? All right. So we multiply -27 times 4. Does anybody have that? -108. Thank you. X to the, there's like bases here, so x to the what? 11th, does y have a like base? So it's just y to the 6. And the 1 does not change anything. Okay. Any questions? I have the last 3 to do with you, and or maybe 2 if we don't have time. But they're definitely on the test, and kids struggle with them, which is why I want to make sure I do them. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Simplify. Leave in radical form. All right. Number 1. The 7th root of x to the 1/2. Okay. I need to simplify this and leave it in radical form. Any thoughts? Okay. We're thinking, if I were to change this to exponential form, what would it be? X to the what? The 1/2 over 7. We can. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to show you an easier way. Are you ready? Now, if your brain processes it this way, and that's like the only way you want to do it, I can show you how to work this out if you like this way. But I'm going to show you an easier way. Are you ready? When you have a radical with the fractional exponents, rewrite it with the power of 1. Do you agree it has a power of 1? There's a big 1 power on the outside?
Sure.
Yes? All right. Now when you do that, it's going to look like the problems we just did, because here's what's going to happen. X to the 1/2 is the base, raised to the what over what? 1 over 7 is correct. Now most kids can handle this because we just did problems like this. Again, x to the 1/2 is your base, raised to the 1 over 7. And what do we do with the power to a power? We do not add, we do what? Multiply. And 1/2 times 1/7, you do not need a common denominator, is 1 over 14. So it's x to the 1/14 is not my final answer, but I'm just a step away. Would anybody like me to explain this again?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did I say on the test or on even your homework? When you see a fractional exponent and you get stuck because you're like, I don't know what to do, you think, oh, I remember what Mrs. Torres said. Put big parentheses and a big power of 1, and it becomes x to the 1/3 is your base, and it's raised to the 1 over 7. And then a power to a power, you just multiply, and this is your answer. Let me give you another one to try on your own. Why is it not the answer? Radical form. I would have gotten that wrong if I was taking a test. Radical x, I know. What goes here? 14, and the power of, do I need to write a power of 1?
No.
Is it okay if you do?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Next one. Cube root x to the 2/7. Again, all I ask is that you reduce your fractions at the end. Okay, I can do 2/7 over 3, but do we want to do that? No. So what did Mrs. Torres say? Write a big what on the outside? Big power of 1. The base is x to the 2/7, or the radicand, as we talked about yesterday or block Tuesday. X to the 2/7 raised to what power? To 1 over 3. And then you multiply your powers. Do you guys agree that's easier?
Yeah.
If anybody want me to explain this way, you're more than welcome to stick around, and I will explain. All right, what does this become? X to the what? 2 over 21, and reduce if you can.
Square root of x.
The 21st root of x raised to the 2nd. Got it? Questions?